Bread, Bread, Bread by Anne Morris. Photographs by Ken Heyman. People eat bread all over the world. There are many kinds, many shapes, many sizes. Skinny bread, fat bread, round, flat bread, bread with a hole. Crunchy bread, lunchy bread, and bread to soak up your egg. Pizza, pretzel, they're bread too. Bread on the table, bread on your head. Bread is good for you. It helps you grow. It makes you strong. Making bread, shaping bread, baking bread. Toasting bread, cooking bread over the fire. Fill up the basket, off to the market. Bread for sale. Breaking bread together. Have a bite. Delicious. And there's a picture of all the different kinds of bread. Bread, bread, bread. Now this morning I wanted to read you a story from the Spark Story Bible, The Road to Emmaus. These 3 days after Jesus died, Cleopas and his friends were slowly walking down the road to Emmaus. They were walking slowly because they felt sad, very sad. Why did Jesus have to die, they wondered. After a while, a stranger began walking along with them. The stranger was really Jesus, but Cleopas and his friends did not know it. Their eyes were kept from seeing Jesus. They were so sad. "What are you talking about?" the stranger asked. The men looked at each other. "Are you the only one in town who doesn't know what happened?" They told the stranger what had happened to Jesus. Jesus was a great teacher. He was the one who talked to God and knew God, and he was the one who was a prophet. And we had hoped he was the one God promised would save the world. But instead, he died on a cross. We took Jesus' body down, put it in a tomb. And this morning, some of our women friends went to the tomb and Jesus' body was gone. An angel said to them that Jesus is alive. But nobody could see the body of Jesus. "Stop being silly," the stranger said. "How many times do you need to hear this? Do you think it was necessary?" And it was. It was God's plan for Jesus to die and to become alive again to save the world. By now, they were almost to the town of Emmaus where they were going. Cleopas invited the stranger to stay for dinner because it was almost dark. During dinner, the stranger picked up a loaf of bread, broke it, gave a blessing to God for it, and gave each person a piece. All of a sudden, Cleopas and his friends recognized the stranger. It was Jesus. And then Jesus vanished from their sight. He disappeared. Cleopas and his friends jumped up, ran from the room and ran back to Jerusalem to tell the rest of Jesus' disciples that Jesus was really alive. God kept another promise. If you saw Jesus walking down the road, who would be the first person you would tell? And what would you say? Would you say that in the bread that Jesus was there? Would you say that when they were eating at the table with Jesus, they knew who he was? Maybe they could feel his love. Bread is a food that we eat. Bread is something that we share at Holy Communion. And this story of the disciples on the road remind us that Jesus took bread and he broke it and gave thanks and gave it to everyone. And that's one way we can know who Jesus is, in the sharing of bread. If you're not yet communing, maybe when we get back together, you would like to ask your parents if they would like to help you learn about communion so that we can receive communion all together when we are gathering back in the church building. But for right now, just remember, bread is everywhere in the world, and bread is something important that Jesus shares with us. The bread of life, and Jesus says, I am life. Let's pray. Dear God, thank you for bread. Thank you for your life and your love. Thank you for sharing with us yourself, your love, and bread. Help us to know you always. Amen. Thank you, friends, for joining with me and hearing two of my stories, The Road to Emmaus, where Jesus met the disciples, and Bread, Bread, Bread. See you later.